Well, as you can see, it's that time of year again. Most of the leaves have fallen off all the trees. That's what it looks like here in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia this time of year. It's late fall, and as you can see, Fanny's rock garden is covered in leaves. I say it's time to clean Fanny up and get her ready for some Christmas decorating. I'm Deborah Power-DeMille, and welcome to Vintage Camper Christmas. Welcome to Fanny, my 1972 South Park camper trailer made in Calgary, Alberta. I worked a long time to get Fanny ready, and this is going to be my first Christmas to celebrate in her in my backyard. My first craft is going to be a wreath for Fanny's front door. Okay, here I am, one of my favorite places in Fanny, the dinette table. And I've put on an old Olaf cutting board. I've just turned it over to have the smoother side, which I've crafted on before, just to protect this fancy tabletop in Fanny that we all work so hard on. So to make this wreath, I'm going to start off with this foam wreath that I got at the dollar store. Really strong, really basic. I have my selection of vintage light bulbs. And this one's just so cute. I have to figure out a way to incorporate this one, although I love this old string of lights. I really think that this could be front and center on Fanny's door decoration wreath. So I find out from a friend that this is Sparkle the Christmas Light. He's a super famous Christmas light that you used to be able to buy in the early 90s. Came with his own song, his own little cassette tape, and his own booklet. So I think what I'm going to do is get my glue gun, which I've had warmed up. I'm going to start a spot on the wreath itself, and then I'm going to start with one end. See if I can do this without, lacerating my fingers. And then I really think it's just a matter of wrapping all the way around. It's getting harder and harder to find this old garland these days. I suspect this is a newer garland, but the real stuff that we used to trim our trees with back in the 70s, harder and harder to find. I mean, you really have to go to a specialty store online or, haunt your local secondhand stores, which is what I've been doing to find all this vintage stuff. Craigslist, secondhand stores. I also have found that the marketplace on Facebook has some pretty good stuff. And all, locally sourced. It knows your IP address. I think the first thing to do is to just start putting on these beautiful colored light bulbs. And you'll notice that these vintage ones are solid colors. Nowadays they're clear, more like this one here. That has, you can really just see right through them. And the other nice thing about these old ones, these aren't going to be lit up, but these shine a lot brighter than the new LEDs. But they're not as environmentally friendly, so let's use them to decorate our wreath for Fanny. Fanny's vintage, old again, new again, Christmas wreath made out of vintage light bulbs from Christmas Lights. Okay, well, tonight we have these guys in here helping us. Hi, Django. Hi, Jiminy. How you doing? They just love coming into Fanny and helping Mama craft. Okay, here we are. My favorite place to be, the dinette table in Fanny. Now, I've been looking for a vintage silver Christmas tree for about 2 weeks now. They are impossible to find. I have been looking online, been looking in tons of secondhand stores. I did find one at a really high-end vintage store in Vancouver, but they are asking $250 for this silver Christmas tree. It's true, it's vintage. But short of that, I decided I want to make my own Christmas tree. So what I did was I found this great piece of doweling in my husband's workshop next door. and a flat piece of board that I screwed into the bottom of the dowling. I found an ancient can of silver spray paint that had just enough left to spray this. And not perfectly because it was so old, but you know, it looks more vintage that way. And I think Fanny would appreciate it. I've cut it to a length of 3 feet. And I did some math and some figuring out, which took a few minutes, to figure out how many branches I'm actually going to need on this tree to make it look like a Christmas tree. Like a fake Christmas tree. So I worked it out that I would do it, there would be 10 levels, 3 inches apart, 4 branches at each level, and each branch would be 2 inches shorter than the other going up the tree. So that makes 38 branches. But well, I actually did less than that. No, I think I did 38. So I started at the first level and went all the way up to actually only 9, because I'm going to start it a little bit further up the tree because you need a place to put presents. So here's what I found. I found this amazing, super thick, super fancy garland, silver garland. This is not a vintage garland. This is a newer garland because it looks like it has a super smaller one in the middle and then the longer, beautiful garland on the outside. However, I could not find enough to make an entire tree out of. The other thing I found was this amazing 1970s garland that I got in the original box, which I love. It's really thick, it's really full. I mean, you just can't find this stuff anymore. It's still flattened from the box. The box is pink and purple and green. So I figured what I would do is I would do each level a different type of garland. So the first level will be thick, thin, thick, thin, thick, thin, and then it's going to be a little cute little tiny topper. So let's get started. I figure the best way to start is to use some decent gauge wire. Certainly not as thick as a clothes hanger, but something that you can bend easily because you want to have it twisted so it will hold onto the garland. So you need 2 lengths of wire for each branch. So with 38 branches, I better get cracking. So we have our first 2 lengths of 16 inches. The first thing I'm going to do is take 2 ends and I'm going to bend them over. Not all the way, just into a little hook. And then I'm going to hold it really tight with my pliers. She says, hopefully. And then I'm going to start twisting the wires. See how I'm doing this? Not really tight, sort of long and lean. That way we have a good strong base to wind our garlands around to make the branches. And then at the end, you'll see how I affix the garland, and this is going to be the end that goes into the wood dowel for the tree, like a store-bought tree. And it's really crooked, but we're going to make that more beautiful. I'm not going to lie, it took a while to put this great little tree together. And I didn't want to bore you with all the footage, so here's some nice still photos of the end product. What a cutie, and so silver. Wow, I'm so happy with how this tree's turned out. All the little vintage touches, the different colors, the reflectors. I really, really wish that I could have this tree inside, but it's just for Fanny. And my little homemade tree worked out really well. Okay, we have a few more things to do in here. Let's get going. Okay, so here we are doing some Christmas baking in Fanny. Now the first thing we need to do is light up the stove and the oven. Take off my little grates. I open up the top and I just turn on the propane. So I'm going to use my little handy dandy lighter, which is supposed to be working so perfectly. And I light the little tiny pilot light in the middle. It's a bit dirty in there, but we're not cooking on that. The most important thing is that that pilot light is lit. Now, put back on my little grates. The next important thing is to light the oven, because yes, we're using the oven. Who thought they'd ever be baking gingerbread men in their camper? Well, you know what? We're going to do it today. You know what this is over here? Well, I have a few things on it, but this is a vintage recipe book holder, which I adore. And I'm going to put my fabulous old Joy of Cooking cookbook right there. Oh, it's almost big enough for it. Most of them aren't. Isn't that the sweetest thing? Now, I've already made my gingerbread. And it's interesting because I make gingerbread cake for my husband non-stop over the holidays. But actual gingerbread men, this dough needs to be made and rise at room temperature for at least 2 hours. So that's what we've done. We've let that rise a little bit. And then what we're going to do is roll it out, and we're going to be making little cute gingerbread men. Put a little bit of flour on the wooden board. I have my handy dandy little TV tray here. And then you want to roll your old rolling pin or whatever. You know what? You can use a wine bottle. You don't have to be precious, especially if you're camping. Then we're going to take this lovely old bit of gingerbread that has been rising for about 4 hours. You know what? I'm going to move my little tray because it's making a little bit of banging sound. And I'm right by my sink, right by my stove. And I turn it over and I make sure that both sides and even the edges are covered in a little bit of flour just to make the rolling easier. And the key to rolling out anything, whether you're rolling out pastry or gingerbread dough, is to start from the center and go out. Being happy. I always have there's always a little bit of flour on the side. Make sure you dab your edges of your cookie cutter. Don't know how long I've had this guy, but a long time. And we're just going to start pressing as close to the edge as we can. We want as many as we can get. All the way through. Oh, this one came right off with the cutter. This is always handy, because then you can put it right on the cookie sheet. Another dab. Yes. Another cut. I think we can fit another one on there. So let's make sure this is placed properly. We're going to do a nice choppy chop. And get that little one out. Oh my goodness, that is adorable. Look at that. Okay, so now we have these cookies ready to go. Let's see what Fanny's oven looks like inside when it's completely warmed up. It's a bit of a wonky angle, but as you can see, I have the cookies ready to go. And we're going to see underneath here how all that light lights up underneath to make that oven super even baking. Okay. Here we go. Just trying to find a place to put the camera. Now, let's put the cookies in the oven. And we're going to put it on the top shelf. Every phone has some kind of a clock app. When you go to the clock, you can set a timer. And my recipe says that I need to cook the cookies for 7 to 10 minutes. So let's say 9. So now we're just going to touch this spot. 9 minutes, and we press start. There we go. Now we are ready. Let's hope it turns out really well. There we go. Time is up. Let's get it out of the oven. Thank goodness I have my trusty Fanny oven gloves. Let's see how they turned out. Come on, little gingerbread people. Oh my goodness. They are so lovely and so perfect. I hope you can see that. Now we're going to let those cool down. Going to make some royal icing. Okay, here we are. It's just twilight now, and it's the perfect time to hang Christmas lights around Fanny, because pretty soon it's going to be dark and we'll be able to see how great they look. Now, I've got my handy dandy ladder set up over here. I also have my lights, which I have sequenced as best I can via color. So we're going to find the plug-in end. That's the business end of these Christmas lights. And we're going to start where every good light starts, at Fanny's electrical outlet, because I'm plugged into shore power now. Pretty, right? Now I'm going to start, I'm going to go up, and I'm going to go all the way around Fanny. Fanny's rock car with the lights above. You can see the cozy stuff inside, which we'll get to soon. And there's the lights along the side. Okay. I'm dying to show you some of the great little Christmas decorations I got from friends this year. This is the first year that I've had Fanny set up. And of course we've taken Fanny camping before, but it's the first time I've had a Christmas in Fanny. Check it out. This is so adorable. Not only is it a little canned ham and a Christmas tree, but it winds up. Come on, that is just adorable. My friend Carolyn got that for me. Let's shake it up a bit more. Get a little bit more snow falling. So the big consternation at the Christmas party I had at my place last weekend was, who gave the best camper gift? Well, of course, this is right up there. Then my cousin Lisa gave me this adorable little canned ham. Look at it, it almost looks like wagon wheels. But it says Merry Christmas with a little Christmas tree on top. I just adore that. And it really is made out of tin. You know, it's easier to find the camper decorations in the States than it is in Canada. So I'm really appreciative to find these things given to me in Canada. Oh, we can't forget the first one. The very first one was brought to me by my friend Sharon. Isn't that adorbs? And it lights up. It's just hard with the lights we have on in here right now to see that there's little lights that go around. I love the little lights on the Christmas tree. I love the little snowman. Don't know if we'll get snow this Christmas. I kind of doubt it. The wreath on the door. That's a beautiful little canned ham vintage camper. I just love it. Oh, and I found one more. This is from Bass Pro Shop. Campers have s'more fun. Well, of course they do. So these decorations are going to live inside on my tree because that's where I spend most of my time. I love Fanny. Spend a lot of time in her. Don't live out here. Anyway, I had to share those with you because I was so excited to get them. Well, here we are. All the outside decorations are done. The inside decorations are done. The baking is done that we did last time we were together. And I feel so excited and I'm getting that little Christmas feeling. The baking is delicious. We know because we already ate a whole bunch of it. So we know it's pretty yummy. Now, I'm just waiting for a few of my good friends to come over and do this celebration in the backyard in Fanny. We're going to ring in the holiday season together. And I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you and yours a very special and merry holiday season. From Deborah Power-DeMille in Fanny to all of you, cheers!